Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into anxiety? I mean, it's something we all face, but sometimes it feels like impossible.
Yeah, for sure.
Today, we're going to go past those everyday worries. We've got a bunch of sources. There's this awesome motivational podcast all about resilience.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, we've got some clinical stuff from the Mayo Clinic.
Right, the hard
And
science.
get this, even some notes that look like they were made just for this deep dive.
That's awesome.
I think whether you're, dealing with anxiety yourself, or maybe you want to help someone else who is, or even if you're just curious, this is going to be super helpful.
Totally agree. It's like this blend of personal stories and the science-y stuff. You get the whole picture. Yeah.
Exactly. We don't just want to define anxiety. We want to figure out how to deal with it, maybe even thrive because of it.
Thrive. I love that.
Now, that podcast episode, it starts strong with these powerful images to describe what anxiety actually feels like.
Right, right.
They talk about ceaseless waves, like crashing against you,
Oh, wow.
or feeling like you're stuck in a shrinking room.
Those are so vivid, like you instantly get that feeling.
It's like they're painting a picture. Then they go on to talk about different types of anxiety disorders.
Okay.
Generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD.
Hmm.
They describe it as this constant worry, like an overzealous alarm system going off all the time.
That makes sense.
And we got to remember, these aren't just feelings, they're real medical conditions. The Mayo Clinic's super clear on that.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
podcast also talks about panic disorder. It's described as a tsunami of fear,
Whoa.
sudden, intense, totally terrifying.
Makes sense.
Then there's social anxiety disorder. I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
That fear and discomfort in social situations.
It's like your brain's stuck, sending out false alarms constantly.
Totally. But here's the thing. The podcast, it calls out this myth, the idea that you could just willpower your way out of anxiety.
Oh, yeah, I've totally fallen into that trap.
Me too.
It makes you feel like you're failing when it's really the anxiety talking.
So true.
That's why a proper diagnosis is so important. The Mayo Clinic really emphasizes that.
Yeah.
They use something called the DSM-5 criteria, which is like a guide for professionals to diagnose correctly.
Okay, so we're starting to understand the different, faces of anxiety. But what can we actually do about it?
Right, the big question.
The podcast talks about building your arsenal.
Love that.
They mention therapy, medication, and lifestyle changes.
The big three.
Yeah, the big three. And they're not wrong. Therapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is the foundation.
Yeah, for sure. What's interesting about CBT, and the podcast really highlights this, it's not just about venting.
Right. It's not just lying on a couch talking about your childhood.
Exactly. It's way more active.
Okay.
The Mayo Clinic, they describe it as learning specific skills to manage your anxiety symptoms and gradually facing those situations that trigger you.
So instead of avoiding things that make you anxious, you actually learn to confront them.
Yes, but you do it safely in a controlled way, so you build confidence over time.
Okay.
Speaking of confidence, the podcast shares these awesome stories
I love those.
about people who've successfully managed their anxiety. There's this journalist who was terrified of public speaking and a firefighter who struggled with panic attacks.
Wow.
Both learned to overcome their challenges using these same tools we're talking about.
That's so encouraging. It's easy to get caught up in the clinical stuff, but hearing those stories makes it feel possible.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so back to therapy for a sec. You mentioned CBT is not just venting. What does it actually look like?
Well, it's about learning concrete strategies, like tools to use when anxiety hits.
It's proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. The Mayo Clinic gets into the details. You learn to identify and challenge those negative thought patterns. It's like spotting those automatic negative thoughts and replacing them with more balanced, realistic ones.
Right.
Have you ever found yourself thinking the worst in a situation?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all do that sometimes.
Right. So CBT helps you interrupt those thoughts and ask yourself, is this thought even true? What's the evidence? And what's a more helpful way to think about this?
That's so powerful. It's like taking control back instead of letting anxiety run the show.
Totally. And speaking of control, you mentioned medication earlier.
Right?
The podcast talks about it, but cautions against self-medicating. Really stresses working with a doctor.
So it's not a DIY solution. You need guidance.
Absolutely. The Mayo Clinic agrees.
Okay.
Medication can help, especially with therapy, but it's not a magic bullet.
Right.
Needs a doctor's supervision to find the right medication and dosage.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Both sources emphasize lifestyle changes as like a major factor in managing anxiety. Exercise, sleep, diet, they all play a part.
Right. It's not just what's going on in your head. It's creating a lifestyle that, supports well-being, like building up your resilience from within.
I love that. Lifestyle is armor,
Yeah.
actively building your defenses.
Exactly. It's about making those mindful choices, and that's more than just like checking off boxes.
Right.
It's about figuring out what really makes you feel good.
So it's personalized, not one size fits all.
Exactly. Now, while both sources talk about exercise, sleep, diet, the podcast gets a little more creative.
Oh, I love that. Tell me more.
Well, they talk about that feeling you get after a good workout, that sense of accomplishment, that energy. Imagine that as like your emotional armor helping you deflect anxieties.
I like that. So it's not just physical fitness, it's mental resilience too.
Right. And they compare quality sleep to a shield.
Interesting.
Like when you're well rested, you're better equipped to handle whatever comes your way.
Makes sense. Okay, this is all great. But what about like coping strategies and support systems?
Yeah.
What did the sources say about that?
Well, the Mayo Clinic has this awesome list of tips. They stress learning about your specific anxiety disorder, sticking to your treatment plan, and figuring out your triggers. They also talk about journaling, joining a support group, even learning time management.
Wow, that's a lot. Time management really caught my attention.
Right.
I wouldn't have connected that with anxiety right away.
I know. But think about it. Feeling overwhelmed and out of control can totally fuel anxiety. So learning to prioritize and manage your time, that can help you feel calmer.
It's like giving yourself a sense of agency, which can be so empowering when you're anxious.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of connection. The Mayo Clinic, they really emphasize socializing, not letting anxiety isolate you.
That's so true. It's easy to withdraw when you're anxious, but that can make things worse.
Exactly. Connecting with others, even just a quick call, can give you a sense of belonging. And that support can be super helpful.
I'm glad we talked about that. So to recap, anxiety is a real condition, not just weakness. It comes in different forms, and it's usually caused by a bunch of factors, not just one thing.
Yeah.
But the good news is there are effective treatments, therapy, medication, lifestyle changes. And don't forget coping strategies and support systems.
And maybe most importantly, there's hope. Remember those inspiring stories from the podcast, proof that recovery and thriving are possible?
That's key. But there's more to explore, right? There's stuff in these notes about like anxiety-reducing techniques and the link between anxiety and physical health, even some surprising facts about anxiety. Plus, they mention a website and newsletter that sound like amazing resources.
Right. Sounds like we need to dive deeper. It's funny, we think of anxiety as like all in our heads, but it's totally connected to physical health. We talked about exercise, but the Mayo Clinic says it's important to see your doctor too, to rule out any other medical stuff that might be causing anxiety.
So anxiety could be a symptom of something else entirely.
Yeah. Sometimes it's our body's way of saying something's wrong. Could be a thyroid thing, hormones, even vitamins. A checkup is super important to rule that stuff out.
Makes sense, like check under the hood before assuming it's just a loose screw.
Exactly. Okay, let's get back to those anxiety-reducing techniques.
Okay.
The podcast doesn't get too specific, but it does mention mindfulness as a tool. Remember that firefighter?
Yeah. Mindfulness, that's all about being present, right? Like not letting your thoughts race ahead or dwell on the past.
You got it. It's about paying attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment. That helps you become more aware of your triggers and find a sense of calm.
Like taking a step back from the chaos and observing it without getting swept away.
Exactly. Now, the Mayo Clinic doesn't give a list of specific techniques, but they do say there are tons of options.
Okay.
It's about working with your therapist to find what works for you.
Personalized, not one size fits all.
Totally. Speaking of personalized, remember those notes for this podcast. They mentioned something about potential causes of anxiety, like genetics.
Oh, right. Is anxiety something we're born with, or is it like purely environmental?
It's both, really. Our sources didn't go deep into genetics, but research suggests some people might be predisposed to anxiety.
Okay.
Their brains might react more strongly to stress.
Makes sense. Some people seem to get anxious more easily than others.
Right. And then add things like trauma, chronic stress, even big life changes. It's easy to see how anxiety can develop.
It's like a perfect storm. But it sounds like even if you're predisposed, it doesn't mean you're doomed.
Exactly. Genes might load the gun, but our environment pulls the trigger.
Wow. That's a powerful way to put it. Okay, you mentioned the connection between anxiety and physical health goes beyond just getting a checkup.
Oh, right. We talked about exercise, how it's like a natural anxiety fighter, releases endorphins, reduces stress hormones, but there's more.
Oh, tell me more.
Think about it. When you're anxious, your body goes into like fight or flight.
Yeah,
Heart races, muscles tense up, maybe sweating, nausea.
I know that feeling all too well.
Right. And those physical feelings can actually feed the anxiety. It's a vicious cycle. But what if you could interrupt that cycle by focusing on your physical well-being?
So it's not just treating the mental side, but also the physical symptoms.
Exactly. That's where things like yoga, deep breathing, even massage can help.
Okay.
They calm your nervous system and those physical stress responses.
But giving your body a chance to relax, which calms your mind too.
Precisely. It's all connected.
This is all so fascinating. I feel like we're really starting to get a grasp on this anxiety thing.
Yeah.
But those notes mention something about surprising facts related to anxiety.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. What do they talk about?
Yeah.
So we've talked about the types of anxiety, recognizing it, and some ways to manage it. But those surprising facts from the notes, I'm still curious. What's the deal with that?
Well, one thing that throws people off is that anxiety isn't always a bad thing.
Wait, what? How can anxiety be good?
Think about it. Anxiety is like a natural human emotion. It's part of us. It's what keeps us safe, helps us avoid dangerous stuff.
Okay, so like a built-in alarm system.
Exactly. And sometimes that alarm can be a lifesaver. Imagine you're walking down a dark street and you get this uneasy feeling. That anxiety might make you take a different route or call someone to walk with you.
So it can be protective?
Right. Even in everyday life, a little anxiety can be motivating, like public speaking. Most people get nervous before a presentation. That nervous energy can help you focus and give a better speech.
It's about finding the right balance, right? Where it's a helpful nudge, not overwhelming.
Exactly. It's a spectrum. Not all anxiety is the same.
I'm seeing anxiety in a whole new light. It's not a monster to slay, but something we can learn to work with.
That's it. And that leads to another surprising fact. Anxiety is often fueled by avoidance.
Avoidance, what do you mean?
Well, when we're anxious about something, we naturally want to avoid it, afraid of public speaking. You might avoid situations where you have to speak up, but the more we avoid something, the scarier it gets.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Totally. Avoidance keeps us stuck in that fear cycle. But when we face our fears, even little by little, we start to break it down.
Makes sense. The more we run, the bigger it seems.
Right. This goes back to CBT, remember. Exposure therapy is a key part of that. You gradually expose yourself to the things that trigger you, but in a safe way.
Facing your fears, but with support.
Exactly. It's not about jumping in the deep end. It's about taking small steps to get more comfortable.
This has been so helpful. I feel like I'm actually understanding anxiety now, not just in theory, but personally.
I'm glad. And remember, even though we covered a lot, there's always more to learn. Keep asking questions, finding resources, and exploring this whole anxiety world.
And speaking of resources, we have those notes about the website and newsletter.
Right. Those are awesome places to find more info, articles, even stories from people who've dealt with anxiety.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I think the biggest thing I've learned is that anxiety is complex.
Yeah.
It's not always a bad thing, and understanding it is key to managing it.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, there's help out there if you need it. Don't be afraid to reach out to a mental health professional.
You've been listening to The Deep Dive. We hope this exploration of anxiety has been insightful and helpful. And before we go, we'll leave you with this. If anxiety is a signal, what's yours trying to tell you? Until next time, keep diving deep.